Thiron Sarnai. Our coming together today like this is nothing short of miracle, really. I'm not talking about just me and you coming together here like this, but all of us. The children who are here, Sila Shravika, Anagarika, monks, Anagarika, and everyone who is part of this monastery, all of us coming together here like this is nothing short of miracle, really. In this universe, which is created by Raga, Dvesha and Moha, all of us, we come together to remove Raga, Dvesha and Moha. Isn't that so? I mean, this miracle, it happens because of Buddha. I mean, do you think it is anything short of miracle that, people, they come and they sit down and they want to listen to teachings which teaches them to get rid of Raga, Dvesha and Moha? So, it is only thanks to your merits that you have this opportunity to learn to Dhamma. But just having merits and just being able to listen to Dhamma itself is not enough to transform your life. You have to live a noble life if you want to attain Nibbana. You have to fulfill perfections. You have to gather so many causes in order to finally help yourself, right? Help yourself in such a way that it cannot be reverted, really. If you want to help yourself in such a way, then there are many things to do. You have to do your merits. And actually the thing is, when we talk about the merits, merits can, if I were to tell you to do merits, the merits can sound little bit self-centered, right? Because who is it who is doing merits? You, right? You are doing merits for whom? For yourself, right? So, actually our goal is not to just do merits, really. Merits is just result of who we are, really. Right? When we are virtuous people, and when we care so much about other people, right? When we at least try to put other people before us, right? When we prioritize them, right? When we can sacrifice ourselves for them, in doing so the merits are generated. So that is what we have to do, really. I mean, if you want to achieve a transformation, then there is a price that you have to pay to achieve the transformation. It's not free. And the thing is, all of us gathered here, we all feel like we are such a good people, right? You all feel we are very good human beings. But the thing is, if we are such a good human being, then why we are not arhants? Why are we not arhants if we are such a good human beings? And the reason is because this ignorance, right, it's a thief. Somewhere in your mind, right, this ignorance is lurking. And it's always stealing things from everything that you do, right? Arhan is someone who can give 100%. But no one else except Arhan can give 100% because we always keep something for ourselves. And if you are to deny that you don't keep anything for yourself, then, then you just don't know what you keep for yourself. That's all. It's not that you don't keep things for yourself. So, I'm not trying to tell that all of you are bad people, but, there is so much that we need to go ahead. There is a long path ahead of us, right? We need to achieve many things. I mean, we need to purify our gati, we need to gather so many virtues, and we need to cultivate our paramitas, right? Paramitas do mean perfection, right? We have to cultivate perfections, and all these things that we have to do. This is the prize, really. The thing is, ignorance is a hypocrite. That is what ignorance is, really. Ignorance loves free rides, really. It's imposter, right? It's something which is, it creates something which is not real. And the reason why you have to do, I mean, think about this, right? What is this sermon series? This is theory of everything, right? What do you think? Where is theory of everything is happening? Do you think it's happening here, out there? Or are you self-aware enough to know that it's happening in your own mind? Where is theory of everything happening? Theory of everything is happening right now in your mind. Let me tell you a story, a nice story that one of my teachers recently told me. He told me that, so I had some question, and I asked him some question. And then he told me a story. He told me a story about this couple. So there was this boy and there was this girl, and they loved each other so much. And then one day they did meet somewhere, and then they promised each other that I will give you the best thing that I have. The girl told the boy that I will give you the best thing that I have. And then boy also said that, okay, if you give me the best thing, I will also give you the best thing. So then they go back to their homes, right? After having this promise, promising this to each other, they just go back to their home. And then this boy starts to have second thoughts, right? He's not the epitome of virtuous person, right? He's not epitome of virtue. So he starts to have second thoughts, and he starts to have, doubts about the girl, whether she will give me the best thing or not. Who gives the best thing that they have? No one, right? Why should we give the best that we have to other people? Who gives the best thing, right? So that is how the boy did thought. So what does he do? He did promise the girl that he will give what? The best thing that he has, right? Then he took some second or third best thing that he had, and then he started to wrap it nicely, and he did everything, right? And he did go to park next day. Now the thing is, this girl did also go back to her home, right? And she was thinking that, my goodness, this man, he's such a great human being. He's going to give me the best thing that he has, right? So how can I give him anything less than the best that I have? How can I do that? So I'm going to give him the best thing that I have. So now, obviously, girl picks the best thing that she can give to this boy, right? And she offers, right? She wraps this best thing that she has, right? She wraps it nicely and she packs it up. And obviously, she also goes to the park next day to meet this boy, right? So then they meet each other next day. And then the girl, right? She receives the present from the boy. And what present boy gives her? The first best thing or the second best thing? The second best thing, right? It's not the absolute best thing. He just gives her the second best thing that he has. So he promised 100%, and he did give what? 99%, let's say. The second best thing, 99%, so that is how much he gave. So Now, do you think when boy was giving this 99%, when he had promised 100%, would he be happy? Would you be happy? I mean, think about yourself. If you had promised someone that I will give 100%, and if you give 99%, would you be happy? You would not be happy, right? So obviously, I mean, even though he's giving 99%, right? It's just 1% less. So gives this 99%, and when he is giving, obviously he knows that I did promise what? 100%, right? So obviously when he is giving, he's not in exactly the happiest mood, right? He's somewhat happy, but like not over the moon, right? Can he be? No, right? So obviously this boy, he gives the present to the girl. Now what did the girl bring from her home? The best thing that she had, right? She did bring the best thing that she had to offer to this boy, right? So now obviously, and what did she think when she was giving the best thing? That he has promised me to give his best thing, right? So that is what he is going to give me. So now guess what happened when this boy gave from his side, from his perspective, the second best thing to this girl. What happens? What do you think? This girl is just so over the moon, right? She thinks, oh my God, he has given his best thing. And she is so happy. What did she receive? Best thing or second best thing? The second best thing, right? But she is so happy. Why is she so happy? Because she has this habit of giving the best thing, right? Now the thing is, think about what happens to the boy. Girl from her side has brought the best thing, right? She has wrapped it nicely, she has done everything nicely, and she has brought the best thing that she could give. And then she gives her best thing to the boy. And now guess what the boy feels like when he receives the present? What did he expect from girl? That who gives their 100%, right? Who gives their best thing? So obviously she has given me something else. But girl has actually given 100%, right? So obviously, thinking like that, what do you think? Is boy so happy when receiving? Is he happy to receive? No, he's not happy, right? And whose fault is it that boy has such experience? I mean, when he was giving 99%, he's not happy. When he is receiving best thing from the girl side, also then he is not happy. Tell me, who creates this happiness or suffering in the mind? Do we experience the world out there, or do we just experience ourselves? Did this boy experience the girl, or did he experience himself? He did just experience himself, right? He experienced who he is, not what the world is, right? So this theory of everything is also not something that I can give you. Theory of everything is something which happens in your own mind. It's not something that I can give you. I have something in my mind, but when I give it to you, right, a mind arises, and then depending on how much merits you have, how many merits you have, and how many perfections you have cultivated in this life, in your previous lives, right? Sum total of your perfections, how much virtuous you are, all these causes are creating some sort of experience when I tell you something. So, do you think when you listen to me, the experience that you have, some of you are feeling so happy. You are so happy to hear this story, and you are feeling so nice that there is something profound here, and then you feel like, wow, everyone must be able to see what I see. But do you think that's true? You have your own version of boy and girl in your mind right now, right? I have given you one version, that is my version, right? But that is not the version that you have created in your mind. The story of boy and girl that you have created exists in your mind. And it is something just like the girl experienced herself, the boy experienced himself, right? Just like that, we experience the world according to who we are. Now the thing is this. All of you all want to get enlightened and you want to become arhan, right? You want to get rid of raga, dvesha and moha. Now the thing is this. If we want to achieve something, right? And if we give up after trying 2 times, or 3 times, or even 10 times, then do we really want to achieve what we say we want to achieve? If we don't try enough, do we actually want to achieve what we say we want to achieve? I mean, imagine that you are in love with someone. You are in love with someone and you are madly in love with them. Then, you propose them and they just decline. No, I don't like you. Then, if you are madly in love with them, then would you give up pursuing them? So if you put so much effort to, get a nice partner, then what about the Nibbana? Your partner cannot make you happy forever, but Nibbana is something which can make you happy forever. Do you put enough effort to achieve Nibbana? Have you failed enough? Are you trying enough to achieve Nibbana? Because failure is how you attain Nibbana. Because Nibbana, right, when we talk about these stages of path which you can achieve, at which stage your ignorance is gone away permanently, right, those stages, they only happen 4 times. So those are your success. But to achieve those 4 success, right, this Sotapanna and Sakdagami and Anagami and Arhan, to achieve just those 4 success, you have to try and you have to fail, right? You have to fail so many times. But the thing is, if you give up after trying 2 times, 5 times, I would say even 100 times, then do you actually want to do Nibbana? So then you must try. You must strive. And I believe that all of you can do it. I believe you that all of you can do it if you try hard enough. But the thing is, if you don't try, then the thing is, you have to try again. Maybe not now, but the thing is, there is no other exit from samsara. Whether you like or not, this is what we all have to do. There is no exit from samsara except Nibbana. Whether you like or not, you must pass from this road. Guru Handro always keeps telling us that Nibbana is 99% attitudes. 99% he says it's just attitude. So, what is he saying is that if Nibbana is here, if Nibbana is here and you are here, then what he is saying is that until this stage, you just have to change yourself and improve yourself, right? And then this remaining last 1%, right? You have to jump from there to 100%, right? Perfecting yourself, right? We call Arhant what? A perfected one, right? To become perfected one, it's the last bit which you have to overcome with the Dhamma. But what about the 99%? Those are the correct way to live life, and mundane wisdom, these perfections, virtues and all these things, those are the 99% things. And that is what we have to do. And the thing is, if you don't have it, then, well, whether you like or not, it's like you see something nice in some store and you want to buy it, but you don't have money. So then you can't have it. even though you like to have it so much. So the thing is, what we have to do is we have to pay the price. When we talk about the Dhamma really flows like Amazon river, right, in this monastery. I mean, the Dhamma flows like Amazon river. I mean, there are so many sermons and shorts and videos and audios and all sorts of things, right? And there are books and there are magazines and pictures and quotes and there are so many things, right? Dhamma points and everything. But still, are you Arhan? Why are you not Arhan? So, I have not come here to, give you unpleasantness. But the thing is, mothers will not help you attain Nibbana. Because mothers are nurturing. Sometimes when you make mistakes, then they don't show you your mistakes. They just try to hide and tell you that you are nice, Puta. Even though you are making mistakes, the mothers will tell you you are nice. And those things, they will not help you attain Nibbana, really. You have to have a father if you want to attain Nibbana. And teachers, right, if your teachers are actual teachers, then they are father, really. Most of the time you will experience they will be father, if you are willing to let them be father. So now the thing is this. When we talk about this world has two aspects, right? One is the physical side of the world and another is mental side, right? I mean, the experiences that you are having is one thing, and then there are also the physical side, right? The physical side of the world, and then there are mental experiences which are created based on this physical world. So now, what we have to do is, I mean, our ignorance is about not understanding these two things clearly, right? I mean, we can call it mind and matter, or we can, I mean, if I were to use Pali words, then we can call them nama and rupa, right? So whatever words we use, the words don't matter, but we have to understand these two things clearly about what really exists in this world and how these two things work together, this nama and rupa, right? So now the thing is this. Imagine that you are walking on a street on a dark evening, and then ahead of you, you suddenly get an experience that there is a snake ahead on the road. And then, obviously, if there is a snake, and if that is true, then what will happen to you? You will feel afraid, right? You will feel fearful and you will feel afraid, right? That is what will happen. Now the thing is, imagine that you go and you see for yourself that it's just a piece of rope, really. There was no snake there. But the thing is this not something that can actually happen to you? Is this something impossible to happen, or is this something which can actually happen to you? I mean, your experience, I mean, can an experience not happen in the mind that there is a snake where in physical reality there was only a piece of rope? Can such an experience not happen? Such an experience can happen, right? So what it tells us is that our mind, right, are not always true, right? I mean, what I mean by that is our experiences, right? The mental experiences that we have in our mind, they are not always true, right? Because if those experiences were true, then this kind of things cannot happen. But this is very simple example. It can happen, and it might have happened to many people. So it can happen. So the thing is, think about it. There is some physical thing, and what is that physical thing? A rope. And what is the mental experience about that rope? A snake, right? Now the thing is this. Before you go near the rope, the only thing that you did know is what? That there is a snake, right? I mean, you don't know anything else, right? You don't have lie and truth, right? You just have a lie, which you don't know is a lie, right? The only thing that you have in your mind at that time when you are experiencing a snake based on a rope, you just have a lie in your mind, right? You don't have anything else. So the thing is, when you come to these sermons, right, any sermons, this sermon or any other sermons, what you have to do is, if you come to the sermons, I or whoever is the monk who is preaching the sermon, right, they will tell you that there is a rope there. It's not an actual snake, you only feel like it's snake. That is what they always tell you, right? Now the thing is, what you have to do is, you have to neither accept this as true and neither you have to accept this that this is wrong. You have to not take this as a fact, but you have to take what I say as a claim, right? I am claiming something. What am I claiming? That you are having this experience of a snake, right? And ahead on the road, there is only what? A piece of rope, right? So what I'm telling you, when you are here, when you have not seen for yourself that it's just a rope, what I am claiming is what? That it's a rope, right? Now the thing is, maybe I have gone there and I have seen for myself that it's piece of rope. But how do you know for yourself whether it's just a piece of rope or whether your experience is correct? Then what you have to do is, you have to take what I say as what? A fact or a claim? A claim, right? I am claiming something. And when I claim something, then what you have to do? Now you have to have skepticism towards what you believe to be true, right? Because you have some experience and you think that that is correct experience. And then I am claiming something, right? Which seems to be contradictory of what you believe. Then now when there is a contradiction, now you have to have skepticism, right? About what is correct and what is incorrect. So that is what we have to do. That is the right way of taking these sermons, really any sermons. Because if you think that it's true, then now what you will do is, now you don't want to look at the evidence which implies that it's false. And the thing is, if you think that it's wrong, then now you don't want to look at the evidence which implies that that claim is true. In either case, then you cannot do investigation, right? And if you want to develop your wisdom, then what you have to do is, you have to start and you have to develop this faculty of investigation. You have to do investigation. Because once you know and once you see for yourself, then I don't have to tell you anything. You know and you see for yourself. And that is the only time when, Buddha can give Buddha to you. Otherwise, all you can do is, I can tell you something, right? And then what you do is, because all of you have so much faith in the sasana, and you should have faith. I also have faith. But the thing is, this is how I listen to sermons. This is what I try to do. I try to take the things which are said in the sermons as claims. And then I try to think about them, right? So this is what you also have to do. If you want to develop your own wisdom, and if you actually want to free yourself, then that is what you have to do. You have to develop your own you have to develop your own wisdom. You have to do your own investigation, right? And the thing is, you cannot start investigation with a belief that something is true or false, right? You can start investigation with the bunch of claims, that this is one claim, this is another claim, this is another claim, and this is what they imply. And now you try to see whether they are true or false, but without having any wanting, that I want this to be true or I want it to be false, right? That is what you have to do if you actually want to know and see for yourself whether something is true or not. So that attitude of investigation is very important. If you actually want to make progress, right, on this path, and if you actually want to develop wisdom. If you don't do investigation, you cannot develop wisdom. So now when Buddha talks about the reality of this world, what he tells us is that this world is anicca, dukkha and anatta. That is what Buddha says, that anicca, dukkha and anatta, everything is anicca, dukkha and anatta, and anicca, dukkha and anatta is the only reality in the nature, right? It is not nature of nature, it is the nature. That is what Buddha tells us. So now, if we were to talk about anicca, right, what does the anicca mean? Let's try to think a little bit about the matter, the physical side of the reality, the matter. When we talk about the matter, right, whenever you see any matter anywhere in this world, for example, the seat that you are sitting on, or your own body, or any things that you have, right, all these things, you can observe something in all this matter, right? So forget about what you feel in your mind about this matter, but just try to focus on what is really there physically, right? I want you to think about what is really there physically. So when you focus on the physical side of the reality, about what is really there, then what you will see is that there are, I mean, when we talk about the reality, right, we can talk about the reality on so many levels. We can talk about the molecules, or we can talk about the atoms, or we can talk just about some particles, right? Multiple levels we can talk about the reality. So for time being, let's just talk about the reality on level of atoms. Let's just say, for the sake of simplicity, that it's the most fundamental thing. There is nothing more fundamental than atoms, right? It's not true, but let's just take this as hypothesis that that's true, and it's the most fundamental unit of matter. So if that was so, then when you observe any matter, then what you will observe is that there are just atoms, right? And all these atoms, they have just come together. And they have come together, and it's not like it's done, right? It's not that it's done. I mean, their coming together is not done. They're coming together, I mean, they always have to be kept together by forces, right? If you don't have forces, right? So for example, I mean, right now, the very chair on which you are sitting, the only reason why it does not fall apart, right, it does not become a heap of dust, is because there are nuclear forces acting between these atoms, right? If I had a superpower to remove all those forces, then what would happen? You would all just fall down, right? Including me. Because if I remove from this whole Dhamma hall, then you'll all just fall down on the floor, right? So why would that happen? Because these atoms, right, they are just in this configuration, in this moment, because of some forces which are acting when? In the past or right now? Right now, right? The forces are there acting on this matter right now. If they were there in the past, then you would not have what you have right now. It would not be there in this configuration. So the thing is this. Now think about it. Why right now, think about it, your chair, right now, the reason why it is the way it is because of the forces which are keeping it in that way in this moment, right? The forces are not there in the past, and they can obviously not be there in the future, because future is not here and past is gone. The only moment which is here is right now, right? So these forces are here right now. But the thing is, our experience does not tell us so, right? As I was telling you earlier, you can have an experience of snake for what is actually physically just a piece of rope. That can happen, right? Just like that, even though the matter is like this, your experience implies otherwise. The experience that you have in your mind, right, about this physical reality is not like this. Your experience is very different. I mean, think about it, right? If I were to ask a completely normal person, right, who knows no Dhamma whatsoever, right, if I were to ask him a question about when was this chair created, then maybe he will try to find a label on this chair, right? That where is the manufacturing date in these things, and he will read maybe that 2020, and then what will he tell me? That this chair was created in 2020, right? So since 2020, this chair has been here, right? So there was a point of time when the chair, this process of creation of chair started. Then that process did go on, and then in 2020, some time in 2020, the process stopped, right? And then since then we have this chair here with us. Isn't that what normal person thinks? But the thing is, did creation ever happen? If the creation did happen, then why do you have to keep the forces in this moment? If the creation had happened in 2020, then you can remove the forces in 2020 and chair would still remain a chair, right? But does that happen? If all of you, or if any of us, me, you, anyone, if someone had this superpower to remove these nuclear forces just like that, then if they were to do it, then what would happen? We would all fall down, right? But that person, he tells us that the chair is created in 2020, right? Then how come if you remove the force for just one moment, what you think to be chair just falls apart? How can that happen? Is this not crazy? Now the thing is this. So I was telling you something about the dukkha, right? So this characteristic that I did describe, the force is keeping the matter together in some configuration. That is what we mean by dukkha, right? Dukkha is not suffering. Dukkha is this characteristic of things being together in certain configurations because of certain forces, right? Now these forces which are keeping things together, it can either be a mental force or it can be a physical force as well. So for example, you can have some desire. When you have a desire, right? So desire, we can say that, this desire, there is a way in which we can have desire with the ignorance, and then there is a desire, but a desire without ignorance. So for example, if one day there are 10,000 people coming to this monastery and we don't have chairs, now let's just imagine if we had a chair factory in the monastery, let's say, we never know. So if we had a chair factory in the monastery, then now we would probably tell someone, right, that there is a need, right? So need means we need something, right? We want something. But the thing is, that is not based on, that can be either be based on the ignorance or it can be without ignorance. So the thing is, when we have desires that are based on the ignorance, that is the only time when we have this mental suffering. If we have desire based on the ignorance. Because the thing is, when you have desires based on the ignorance, then what you think is that you want something, and once you have it, that thing will remain as it is forever. That is what you think when you have desire with the ignorance. Because you don't understand the nature of this world, right? You don't understand anicca, dukkha and anatta. Then what you feel is that this thing, right, it will remain as I want it to be, right, forever, once I achieve it. That is what a normal person thinks, really, right? Think about when you did try to construct your home. With what kind of mindset do you make your home? You have this feeling that I need to construct a nice home, right? And then you buy materials and then you start to make a home, right? And then sometime when you are done with paintings, furniture and everything, and then you say, now I have a home, right? Now it's done. So the thing is, think about this home that you have according to this example of chair. Is your home done being created, or is it being created in this moment? It's being created in this moment, right? Every moment the cement and the blocks and tiles and all those things, they have to be together. When? In the past or right now? Right now, right? In order for your home to be as it is right now, right? So that is the meaning of dukkha. That now the thing is, we did talk about the physical side of the dukkha, but the mind is also just dukkha, right? Mind is also just result of causes being brought together in certain configuration using under the influence of some forces. That is how our experiences do happen, right? So imagine if there is some mental energy, right? Free mental energy, right? It is shaped into something, right? By the forces. So that is what happens. So that is our experience. So now the thing is, let's come to the mind a moment later. Now think about this dukkha. Why is dukkha possible? So if reality is in this way, right? Every moment, if things are coming together because of the forces in that moment, why is it so? Why is dukkha dukkha? Why is the nature of nature dukkha? Why the nature is dukkha? Why did the Buddha say sabbampi dukkha? And obviously, then we have to go a step back. And that is what? Anicca, right? Yad aniccang tang dukkhang, right? Because the world is anicca, that is why world is dukkha. So, the reason for dukkha is what? Anicca. And what is the meaning of anicca? Anicca means lack of preference. Right? Preference to be in one way or another, in any way, right? That is the meaning of anicca. So for example, if we were to particle by particle, if you were to disassemble the chair on which you are sitting right now, right, then now let's say you collect all these plastic molecules, right, into some let's say a container, right? Now, when you do that, do these molecules, do they have any preference to be in plastic container? Do they like to be there? Do they like, is it their comfort zone? Is it, these plastic molecules, do they like to stay in this plastic container? No, right? Okay. Do they have a problem with staying there? They don't have preference in either way, right? To be or not to be. They don't have any preference, right? To be in any way or to not be in any way, right? That characteristic is what Buddha means by anicca. So, it is because of anicca that this world is dukkha. So, now the thing is this. Because nature has no nature, right? What I mean by no nature? Anicca, right? But what anicca means? Lack of preference, right? It implies absence of something, right? It does not imply presence of something. It implies absence of what? What do we feel in our mind that when we sit on the chair, somehow, this might sound so irrational when I put it into the words, but this is the feeling that we have. We feel that there is something and it likes to be in that way. That is the feeling that we have. So we think the chair wants to remain chair, right? And so many things, my body wants to remain the way it is, and so many things that we have, we feel they all have this desire to be the way they are. That is what we feel. So, now the thing is this, because the nature has no nature, right? Because the nature has no preference, that is why you can bring together causes by applying force on them. That is the only reason why you can do it. Because if they had preference to be in some way, then if you try to apply force in some way in which they don't like to be, then would they come together in that way? They would not come together in that way, right? So it is because of anicca that the world is dukkha. Now the thing is this. Try to think about it. If this plastic container that we were talking about, if it only has some plastic molecules, right, then by applying force, what do we do? So for example, let's say there is some mold and you melt this plastic, right, and you put it into this mold, right, so you mold them into this shape of chair. So now the thing is this. When you are doing that, what are you actually doing physically? Try to not focus on what you feel is happening. Try to focus on what is happening physically. What is happening physically there when we do that? What is happening physically is we have just brought together the plastic molecules, right? Of course, we have applied force and those things, but the only thing that we did is what? We did bring together plastic molecules, right? That's it. Did we do anything more physically? No, right? We did just bring them together. Now the thing is this. Imagine that so I will just try to show some plastic molecules. So before, as we did discuss before, when they were in the plastic container, they had no preference to be in the plastic container, right? And they did not want to be not in the plastic container either, right? They had no preference to be or not to be, right? They were just there. And why they were there? Because in that moment, the force was applied in that way, right? So I mean, this plastic container, the boundaries of this plastic container, it was preventing these plastic molecules from going out. So that is why they were just remaining, because the force was keeping it in there. So now the thing is this. What did we do? We did take some plastic molecules from this container and we did put them into some mold and we did heat them up and we did just try to put it into this shape, right? Into this shape of chair. So now the thing is, what is still here? Physically, try to think about it. What is still here? Before, what was there in the plastic container? The plastic molecules. And when we did put them into this plastic chair mold, then what is still there? Just plastic molecules, right? Now, of course, the configuration is different, right? The configuration is, of course, different. Before, it was like there was no order. Now, we have created some structure and we have tried to put them into some structure. But the thing is, physically, what is present here? If we were to forget about configuration for a moment, then still, what is in here? Still just plastic molecules, right? But now imagine that we have heat them up, right? And then we cool them down, right? So now these plastic molecules, right, they will be bound by the force, right? Now the thing is this, when that happens, what would you feel? What happened in your mind? Now let's come to your mind, right? So this is what happened physically. Right? Now try to think about what will you experience when, if you are an observer of this process, right? What would you feel in your mind? What is happening? What would you feel? You would feel, let's say you are just completely normal person, you don't know anything whatsoever about Dhamma, then what would you feel? You would feel that someone was doing all these things, right? And then they know, I mean, this person who is observing, they know that this is a mold of chair, right? So what are they thinking? That this other person who is manufacturing this chair, right, they have started the process of making chair. I'm talking about the experience, right? Try to reflect about what you feel when you see these things physically. So what kind of nama, right? What kind of experience happens when you see all these things? So what do you see? I mean, what do you experience in your mind based on this physical observation? You feel that creation of something started and then it was going on and then it did finish. Isn't that the normal person's experience? Now the thing is, it's not true, right? But that is what we always feel, right? That something has happened. So something had happened at certain point, and since that happened, or since the time of creation, it's there. That is the feeling that we have in our mind, right? About so many things. So the thing is this, what we have to understand is that this feeling of creation is just a result of ignorance, really. As we did discuss, right? If this nama, right? The mind is, if it was a mental energy, then it is always shaped by forces, right? The mind also does not have preference to exist either, really. There are causes, and only when those causes are there can mind arise. If those causes are not there, then the mind cannot arise. So the thing is this, when the mind arises, right, what always happens is, the very fact that we exist means we are ignorant. And then what it also implies is that, is ignorance physical? Or is ignorance in mind? Ignorance is in mind, right? Ignorance is about, it's a mental thing, right? It's not physical thing. So the thing is, so this ignorance is a mental force, right? And it's always acting on this energy which is responsible for creation of mind. And what does it do? It always twists your experiences, really, right? It always makes you feel that something is happening which is actually not real. It always makes you believe that something which is actually not true, it always makes you believe that it's happening and it's true, right? Think about it. If the only reason why the chair is the way it is in this moment is because of the forces which are acting on it in the past or in the present, then can you say that this chair was created in 2020? What does it mean when we say that, something was created 5 or 6 years ago, just for example? What does it mean, really? Is it not crazy? So this is the craziness that Buddha is talking about. That our minds, right, whenever the mind arises, mind is always arising with some sort of view. Now the thing is, this view can be correct or it can be incorrect as well. And now think about this, mind is also anicca. So that means mind or mental energy, it does not have any preference to be in any way either, right? So does your mind have some preference that I should tell truth to this nice person? Does it have a preference? No, right? The mind also has no preference. And it does not have preference to lie to you either, really, right? It does not want to tell you truth. And it does not want you to lie to you either, really. It does not have any preference. That is why, right, whenever this mental energy is brought together, right, now either ignorance is acting on this aggregation of mental energy or it's not acting. So when the ignorance is acting on this mental energy, then what it is doing is, it is twisting all these experiences which are happening. Now the thing is, if the only thing that you know is that I experience snake and that is what is true, right? Now the thing is that confidence is not valid, right? That confidence that you have that I feel snake and obviously what I feel must be true because what is true is what I experience. That is what a very normal person thinks because they don't think critically about the mind, right? And the thing is, of course, then there is a price to pay. When we are not critical, right, when we don't think critically about our own minds and what is the reality of this world, then the price that we pay for that, for not being critical, is what? Mental suffering. Right? Think about it. If it is just a rope there, then what is the reason to be afraid? There is no reason to be afraid, right, if it is just a rope. But the thing is, if it's just a rope, but you are experiencing a snake, based on that physical matter, Now, of course, you are going to be afraid, right? Then the only thing, the only way in which I can help you is first I should come and I should tell you that what you are experiencing is not true, right? And then the thing is, what you have to do is you have to not take me on my face value. That what this Vayansi is saying is must be true. How do you know for yourself whether it's true or not, right? You must go and see for yourself whether it's true or not, right? I am claiming, right? Maybe it is a fact for me, but I am claiming to you that it's just a rope, right? That is what I'm claiming. And then what you have to do is you have to now have a skepticism, right? A neutral skepticism about your own experience, that okay, someone else is experiencing the same thing in this way, then how come I am experiencing it in this way? Then now there is a scope for investigation, and it is only with the investigation that we can develop our wisdom, and it is only with the wisdom that we can free ourselves. So that is what we have to do. So when we always try to contemplate anicca and dukkha, then slowly what we are doing is we are reducing the force of ignorance which is acting on our mind, right? So as we keep contemplating anicca and dukkha, then eventually we come to the conclusion, and that conclusion is anatta, right? And only with the understanding of anatta we can free ourselves. Because the thing is this, the ignorance means wrong knowledge, and wrong knowledge, what kind of wrong knowledge? The nitya, sukha and atta, right? That is the wrong knowledge. So when nitya, sukha and atta is there, and when the mind is being created with the nitya, sukha and atta view, right, then what happens is, this atta part, atta means that there is something or there is someone. That is what atta means really, that there is one thing or one being. Either entities, right, living entities or inert entities, right? There is something either living or dead, but there is something, right? This is the view with which our mind always starts. That is why there is so much curiosity, right? We always want to go and see so many things, and we want to know, right? That is because we are ignorant. That is why we want to know. Because if we are wise, right, if we were to understand anicca, dukkha and anatta, then what we would understand is that the only thing that we need to know is anicca, dukkha and anatta. It's like, if you feel that you are king when you are not king, but you feel you are king, and you feel that you have a queen and you have a castle and you have army and you have all these things, and you have questions about those things, then now the thing is, either I can try to tell you, right, that all those things are wrong, I can try to prove them wrong to you one by one, or I can just tell you that you are not king, right? So this anicca, dukkha and anatta is like that. I'm just telling you that you are not king. So not literally, because I don't think any of you feel that you are king, but just metaphorically speaking, I am trying to help you correct your fundamental misunderstanding. So that is what we have to correct. Now the thing is, even though, see, it's just 3:32, and I think I did started talking about anicca, dukkha and anatta maybe at 3 o'clock. So in just 30 minutes, I have told you something about the most fundamental, ignorance, right? I have given you some wisdom. But the thing is, even though you can maybe see this logically, does it sink into your mind? No, right? Because to do that, there are many things that we need to do. So, we have to develop our virtues, for example, as I told you, right? We have to learn to do our 100%. Because the thing is, if you want to be Arhan, then you should first try to become someone who is almost like Arhant. Then you can become Arhant very easily. Because, as I told you, if you love someone, right? And you really, really want to be with them, then now you have to put so much effort, right? And they say, no, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to be with you. But you just, you are just relentless. No, I will not take a no. And you just pursue them. So just like that, you have to pursue Nibbana, really. That is what you have to do. I mean, become as virtuous as possible. That is something that you have to do. So when we talk about the virtue, right? So these are not simple things, okay? Don't just think that now we are talking about some simple things. This is the 99% part, right? So now when we talk about the virtue, we can talk about the virtue in so many ways. So one simple way to think about the virtue is, you try to leave things better than how when you found them, really, right? That is a very simple way to maintain your virtue. So for example, if you use a washroom, then how do you leave it for others? Do you leave it cleaner, or do you leave it dirtier when you leave after using the washroom? How do you conduct yourself? So do you think that is not virtue? That is also virtue, because the thing is, even though physically there is no problem, I mean, whether the toilet is clean or dirty, physically it's not issue. But the thing is, why you do it? That's the problem. That is the attitude, right? If what you do is you don't care about others, and you just use it, and you just keep it as it is, and you just come out, right, and you don't keep it clean for others, then what you are saying is, I don't care about others. And the thing is, then what you are also saying is that I just care about myself, right? I don't care about the others. Now the thing is, then what you are doing is you are being friends with the ignorance, really, right? Whenever you are saying that I just care about what I have to do, right? I am in this for myself, I don't care about the others, right? Whenever we say that, then what we are saying is that I am the friend of ignorance. That is what we are saying. Because the thing is, if our goal is to get rid of ignorance, right, then we have to fight this sense of self, right? So even though, for example, how do you know that this self is not real? For you, maybe it's just a claim. You don't know all those things, right? For you, maybe it's not a conclusion, it's just a claim for now. So then the thing is, why should you try to fight selfishness? Because, well, you become bad person by being selfish. That is why. So if you want to become arhan, then you have to perfect yourself, right? When we talk about the arhan means someone who is perfect in, I would not say in every way, right? But they have, according to the knowledge that they have, right, whatever virtues they know and whatever views they have, right, they have perfected themselves, right? So if they know that this is what 100% looks like, then they try, at least they try sincerely to do 100%. But if they fail, that's okay. If we fail when we are trying to do 100%, as we will always fail, right? We will always fail. But the thing is that intention should be there. A sincere intention should be there to do 100% in the things that we do. So if that intention is not there, then we cannot attain Nibbana. But the thing is, if that intention is there, if a sincere intention to, give away yourself 100%, if that intention is there, now you can become Arhan, really. Even though you fail, if you are honest, if you did try honestly to do your 100%, now you can become Arhan. But if you don't try, then what you are saying is that there is something and I'm going to keep that for myself. And then that thing that you keep for yourself, right, that is what will prevent you from becoming Arhan, really. So now, of course, it might sound so extreme when I talk like that, right, that giving yourself 100%. But the thing is, it's a gradual thing, really. Right now, what you feel to be your 100%, if you start to do your 100%, this 100% will keep changing, because the 100% is in the mind, and as the mind improves, then there will be a higher level of 100%. right? So you just try to do your 100% right now with the things that you do. Care about other people sincerely. Try to help them, right? I mean, if I were to tell you to, just do merits, then what happens is now again you are just you want to do something because why? Because there are merits for yourself. Then what is the difference between you and a doctor really? A doctor works for a fee, right? He also helps other people, but for a fee. And now you are doing something in order to gain merits. What's the difference between you and doctor? You are still just working for yourself, right? So what we have to do is, we have to sincerely try to help other people, and we have to try to give them the best thing that we can, right? Now the thing is, of course, you can give so many things, so many different things to other people, but when we talk about the sasana, then what do we have to give to other people? We have to try to give Nibbana to other people, right? That is the most powerful thing that you can do for your Nibbana, right? Don't do that. Don't give Nibbana to others for your Nibbana. Just give Nibbana to other people. Don't give it with the intention. I mean, this is what my teacher told me, that don't write a written address. Don't write the written address on the merits, really. I mean, when you do something good, then let it just be. Don't write the written address, right? This written address are always to you, right? And who are you? If what Buddha is saying is correct, then you are just ignorance, right? So why do you want to receive something? I mean, why does the ignorance wants to receive something? Why should ignorance receive anything? Ignorance deserves nothing, right? So of course, so virtue is one thing, right? So I mean, what you can always try to do is see how you leave the things for other people. Whenever you are engaged in anything, right? Whenever you are involved in any transaction, right? Our life is a series of transactions, right? One after another. So this virtue is just about, how do we conduct these transactions? So what kind of attitudes we bring to these transactions that we are constantly performing. So if we can give our 100% in all these transactions, then we are virtuous. So that is what we should try to do, right? Always trying to give ourselves properly to other people, right? Whenever we are doing something, that is in one way the essence of virtue. So this virtue is something that we must develop, right? So I mean, I'm not saying you are all not virtuous people or something, but I mean, Arhan has an extremely high level of virtue. It's an extremely pure mind, right? So then if that is our goal, then we all have to keep improving, right? Rather than just, resting on our high laurels, we have to put efforts constantly. Because the thing is, many of you, the lay people sitting here, right? You don't have an environment, right, where people are pushing you to become more virtuous. If anything, they are just pushing you to, you look out for yourself, I will look out for myself, we don't care about you, and you should, so like that, they are pushing you in the direction of more raga, dvesha and moha. They are not helping you remove the raga, dvesha and moha. So then, you have to constantly put effort to purify yourself and increase your virtue, and be very vigilant about how you conduct yourself with everyone, right? Because the thing is, as I told you, right, ignorance never allows us to give our 100% properly. There is always somewhere where we cut corners. Maybe we just don't know and we are ignorant, but we always cut corners in some way, right? We just pretend to ourselves, right? Mostly, I mean, if we are not Arhan, then we are like this boy, really. Maybe we are giving 99%, but if we did promise 100%, then what we have to give? If we have promised 100%, then 99% is not going to make us happy. we have to give 100%, right? If we tell them that we are, if we tell someone that we are going to give them 100%, then the only way to be happy is if we give them 100%, not if we give them 99%, right? So that is what we have to do. So this virtue is something that we have to do, right? And then we have to develop. So now I understand that, certain things that I will say might not be very practical, but what I know is that all of you now, of course, our Anagarika Mahatmyas, right, they have access to environment and they can do lots of things perhaps that you cannot do living a lay life or outside the monastery, right? Not having committed yourself entirely to the monastery. But the thing is, you come to these sermons because you want to attain Nibbana, right? That is why you come to these sermons. So then, whether I like or not, I know that certain things I will tell you, you might not be able to do. But it is my duty, if you come here to attain Nibbana, then at least to tell you that what you have to do, right? Then I have to tell you, even though I myself, I know maybe that some of the things that I will tell you to do, maybe you might not be able to do them. So what I was going to tell you after this virtue, this development of mindfulness and samadhi, right? This is also something which is very crucial. Without samadhi, there cannot be any wisdom, right? Without a samadhi is necessary in order for us to acquire wisdom. But samadhi should not be our goal, but it's necessary. But the thing is, for that, you have to take out some time to contemplate, right? Or go to Velimalo or do something like that in order to, develop your mindfulness and increase your samadhi. Otherwise, all these things, they will just make logical sense to you, but they will not sink into your mind. If this mental environment is not prepared properly, right, in order for Dhamma to sink into your mind, it will not go into your mind. And the thing is, we always go on and on about this, right? That there is no free lunch, that there is a price for everything. Nibbana also has price. All these things are price. Development of our mindfulness, development of samadhi. Now, of course, the thing is, either you can do all these things, having listened to me, you can do all these things separately, or you can just commit yourself to the monastic life, right? If you just commit yourself to the monastic life, then now in the monastery, you don't even have to think about how to increase all these factors, how to do paramitas, how to do merits, and how to improve your gati and virtues and all these things. All those things will happen automatically and naturally, 100%. Without a doubt, it will happen, right? So now, of course, now whenever I talk about monastic life, of course, I know that, I'm talking to all of you, and for many of you, it might not be possible. But the thing is, I don't know what else to do, really. Because you come here for the Nibbana, right? And you're always trying to do something and you push yourself, but then at certain point, that's it. Now you can't go ahead after a certain point. And that is because, you lack this noble environment, really. You lack noble friends, right? So I always, I just encourage all of you, those of you who can do this, please do it, to help yourself do it. I'm not telling you to give something to me. I'm telling you to take something from Sambuddha Sasana. That is what I'm telling you. Take your own salvation from the Sambuddha Sasana, really. I don't really see many young people on this side, which is very unfortunate, because they are the ones who need to listen to this message, really. But I hope that if this video goes online, if this sermon goes online, I hope that all of you, right, and now I'm talking with these people who are going to watch this sermon online, I want to tell all of you that if you are young, don't waste your life. Don't waste your life. There is a crisis of meaning in the modern society, right? People, they feel that their life are so meaningless, right? At least I felt so. I don't know, you are, all of you are bit old, so maybe you might have not experienced that. But in my generation, we experience that like crazy. I mean, this crisis of meaninglessness, right? It feels that life has no meaning and no purpose, and we are all just living very, hedonistic. I mean, we are just leading a very hedonistic existence, really. Just a life of pleasure, nothing else. That is what I did in my life, just wasting my life. And and that is where society is going, really, right? I mean, people's virtues, it's not increasing, right? Paramitas are not increasing, people are not doing merits, nothing. I mean, world is going to shambles, really. And the reason for that is because this world is created by ignorance. So that is how it will always be. The only counter force to ignorance is some Buddha Sasana. That is the only counter force that we have. There is nothing else. There are no other counter forces. So the thing is this meaninglessness, right? We feel that meaninglessness because, because what ignorance always does is, it creates hunger and then it gives us food. It creates hunger and it gives us food. It creates hunger and it gives us food. And that is our life, really, like an animal, So if we actually want to feel what the human being feels like, then you have to become arhat, really. If I'm telling you, I'm not joking. If you actually want to feel like, what a real human being looks like, right? A happy, ideal, content human being, right? What he or she looks like, then you have to look at arhat, really. All of us, right? The rest of us, if we are not arhats, then we are not leading the best life that we can, really, and we are not helping other people to do so either. I mean, when we think about the ignorance, when we talk about the ignorance, right? Ignorance basically loves two type of pleasure, right? The ignorant mind, it loves two type of pleasures. So one is pleasure of sensuality, right? That is something that ignorant mind loves. And then there is a pleasure of ego. Those are the two pleasures that ignorant mind loves, right? Either to have sensuality or to, become somebody, to become superior to other people in some way, enjoying the ruling over other people and to feel superior. These are the things that people love. So, I mean, not people, but the ignorant mind, really. Arhan does not do these things. I mean, Arhan does not care because if the ignorance is creating hunger and it is also giving you food, if you remove the ignorance, then what will happen? Now you will not get hungry. So I don't mean physically, okay? Physically you will get hungry, but I mean in your mind. You will not feel this discontentment that you are always feeling, really. If there was a highest thing that you can do in this universe, I kid you not, it's living the monastic life, really. I'm kidding you not. If there is a highest thing, a most noble thing that a human being can do, then that is living a monastic life, dedicating themselves to Buddha Sasana. I don't think there is anything more noble, really. Because the thing is this, I mean, think about it. If you are, I know you are all very good human beings, right? And even though there is a long way to go for all of us, if you are not arhats, right? But still you are all very good human beings, and what you want to do is you want yourself to be happy, you want others to be happy, and you don't want anyone to suffer, right? That is what you want to be, right? If you are a good human being, those are the things that you want to do. Now the thing is this, if the reason for the suffering of other people, right, is ignorance, right? Let's put it in this way. If this was the problem that you have right now, or the problem that you think you have right now, right? Right now you have many problems, right? All sorts of problems in your life you have. And this is the problem. Let's imagine that this is the problem that you have right now. Now this problem is caused because of this problem. And this problem is caused because of this problem. And this problem is caused because of this problem. And this problem is caused because of this problem. And this problem is caused because of this, and finally, this is the root problem. Now the thing is this. If you try to solve any of these 7 problems, right, in here, then, will you ever be successful? As long as this problem is here, which is ultimately responsible for creation of all the other problems, what will you do about any of these 7 problems, tell me? What can you do? You can't do anything. You can temporarily, just, think about how crazy it is. When people, they commit some crime, right, we put them into prison, right? So, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but the thing is, think about, what should we do as a society is we should try to help them remove the ignorance from their mind, right? Because it is because of ignorance that they did commit these crimes. And the thing is, it's not like we are also special, because of the marriage that we had, we had a comfortable existence and everything, so we did not have to commit any crimes. But what if it was not so? Then you would also end up in prison maybe, right? And all these crimes that happen in the world, right? People, they have such a good heart, right? They try to do so many different things in this world, right? They also have loving kindness, right? They also have metta, and they try to do so many things for other people, right? There are scientists who want to discover cure to cancer because they think the cancer is very big problem, right? There are scientists and they are doing all sorts of research, right? Then there are people who are trying to extend the lifespan, and they are trying to prevent the aging process, and all sorts of things people are doing, right? With what purpose? To find freedom from suffering, right? But the thing is, what Buddha is saying is that if you try to solve any problem except the problem of ignorance, you will never be successful. Because ignorance, there is no evil in this world like ignorance, really. Ignorance is the worst thing that can happen in this universe. This universe, right, where there is so much suffering, it exists because of ignorance, really. Try to think about it. This universe, right, this unstable thing that we call universe, it exists because of crazy thing, and that crazy thing is what? Ignorance, right? It is because of this ignorance that this whole world exists. Then the thing is, try to think about it in this way. The reason ultimately why you have all your diseases because what? Because you have a human body, right? We don't like to think about it in this way. You would like it to be rather, have a human body and not have disease, right? That is how we would like it to be. But the thing is, if this world is anicca, then what it means is that causes, they don't have any preference. And then, how can you create a state of existence, right? A perfect, good existence where you have a physical body but no disease. If I keep feeding you the sweets which have lots of sugar, now can you stop the diabetes from coming to you? Can you stop? No. So, the thing is, whenever we try to solve these symptoms, we will always fail. So, Buddha is someone who has found what? The root problem, right? And the thing is, think about it. When we ordain in the Sambuddha Sasana, right, then you might know that what do we say on the stage at the time of ordination? Sabba dukkha nissarana, right? That is what we say, right? Sabba dukkha nissarana. Sabba dukkha nissarana, right? That is what we say at the time of ordination. So, Sabba means this whole universe. And dukkha means you know now what is dukkha. In this whole universe, right? All dukkha in this universe, nissarana, we need to stop. It is useless, and we take pledge under the name of Buddha that we need to stop all this dukkha. Not just my dukkha, but we need to stop all dukkha in this universe. Because the thing is, I mean, think about how funny this is. Let's say this is a mind, okay? Try to think about all of yourself and me that this is someone's mind, okay? We say that this is person one's mind. So, and I will draw one more mind. Now, try to really think about this. There is a mind and body here, and there are minds and bodies here, and there are minds and bodies here, right? That is what is there. Now the thing is, because of the force, ignorance, right? What happens is, if there is a ignorance here, then the experience which is created by ignorance is that there is something special here, right? Which is not anywhere else. Right? It's only here. And then, if there is ignorance there, then a mind is created there with the same feeling that there is something special here which is not anywhere else in this universe. So, I am the only one. I am the one. That is the feeling which is created in this ignorant mind. Right? And that is only because of ignorance. Now, the funny thing is, even this feeling of uniqueness that you have, right? I mean, this person one, right? He feels that he is a unique person, and this person two, he also feels that he is unique person. The funny thing is, these two feelings, person one's feeling of uniqueness and person two's feeling of uniqueness, that I am unique, right? These two people's, these two individuals' feelings in their mind that they are somebody, that feeling is same. If you had a way to disconnect the memory from this mind and body complex, this two mind and body complex, if you had the ability to disconnect the memories, now tell me what difference would be there? Except memory. And memories are not something that belong to you or something. It's just it is created because of causes. So the thing is, when you are sitting here, something is constantly going in your memory. Can you stop it? Are you someone who is putting it in the memory, or are they just being constantly added to the memory? The files are just being downloaded, and then they are just going to the storage. They are just going, right? And of course, in computer, there is a pause and stop and remove and all these things. But in your memory, there is no such thing. That's why you can't forget, right? Some painful things which you think happened to you in your life before, you can't forgive them. Neither forgive them nor forget those memories, right? Even the creation of memory, right? It's not that it happens to someone, or someone is creating this memory or adding this memories or anything. It's again just a process. Now think about it, how crazy that is. If these two, now think about this. Think about this, right? Very critically, I want you to think about this. So there is a mind here, and there is a body. By body, I mean physical body. And there is a mind here, and there is a body here. And now the thing is, this mind and this mind, both of these minds, right, which we conventionally say belong to different people, right? These minds, if we were to look at them, they are just mental energy. That's it. The electricity which comes at your home, is it different from the electricity here in some way? I mean, the electricity itself, I mean, of course, the configuration we can change. You can change the phase and you can change the frequency, all those things, yes, but fundamentally it's just electricity, right? It's not like there is an actual difference. So the thing is, this mind and this mind, they are just mental energy, right? They are mental energy, and this body, right, physical body, it's just a matter. Now the thing is this, when these two things come together along with the ignorance, right, when the mind, body and ignorance, they come together, then a feeling is created that there is someone unique here. And that feeling is because of not understanding anicca, dukkha and anatta, right? That feeling has been created. And then, now try to think about this, right? When a feeling of uniqueness is created in this mind, right? Just like this person who experiences that snake is there, right? A feeling is created that I am here. Somebody exists. Someone is here. And then this other person also has the same feeling that somebody is here. And now the thing is, this person, right, even though even this feeling of separation, right, this feeling of uniqueness is also same, ironically, right? This person thinks that he is different from this person feels I'm different from this person, and then they try to fight. I mean, all the problems in this world, I mean, when we talk about, let's say, at least human beings, right, there are problems between two human beings, right? Two different human beings, right? But the thing is, if we were to ask Buddha, what he would tell us is that these are all just symptoms of what? Ignorance. I mean, if you have two friends and you want them to not fight, but you don't help them get rid of ignorance, then you can try all that you want, but the thing is, they will fight, you can't stop it. As long as the root problem is there, how can you stop the violence from happening in this universe? From the killing, stealing and all these ugly things which goes on in this world, right? They are all, every single one of them, I mean, think about how crazy that is. Like, every single problem in this whole universe, even the creation of the universe itself, is because of not understanding anicca, dukkha and anatta. Because of thinking that this world is nicca, sukkha, atta. How crazy that is. Think about it. And the thing is, it's like, I mean, imagine that there is a evil scientist. There is some evil scientist. So this evil scientist, right, what he does is, imagine this. This evil scientist, right, he takes some matter and he takes some energy, right, and he brings together this matter and energy, right, and then imagine that you are the person that this evil scientist has created. And after creating you, right, what he does is he just keeps beating you. First he creates you and then he keeps beating you. What would you say to this level of evil? Is there any word to describe this level of evil? Someone create you to abuse you. Think about it. This ignorance has created you to do what? Nothing but to abuse you. I mean, ignorance is not an agent, but I'm just, being a bit poetic in my description, but that is what this ignorance is doing really. It has created you and now you are suffering. That's it. And unless you understand anicca, dukkha and anatta, right, you will not get free from this suffering. You can have a desire that I don't want to suffer, and you can have that desire as much as you like. You can chant whole day from morning to evening that, I don't want to suffer. Please whoever you believe, Lord Buddha, Jesus Christ, please save me, please save me from the suffering, I don't want to suffer. You can say that all that you want, but the suffering will not stop. Why it will not stop? Because of ignorance. There is nothing worst in this universe than ignorance, really. There is nothing worst. If there is a highest, that is why, why did I talk about all these things, this Sabba Dukkha Nissarana and this and all these things? Why did I open all these threads? The reason why I opened this thread is, I did tell you, right? The highest, the most noble thing that you can do, if what they say about the samsara, right, that we had infinite lives before, right? And let's say there might be infinite lives in the future. If that is true, then I would say that as I understand right now, out of all those infinite lives, if there is a best life, that best life would be in Sambuddha Sasana. If you have any compassion for yourself, and for other people, then you have to help other people do this. You must help everyone attain Nibbana. That is the only meaningful thing to do in life. You can donate some money to some organizations which might be feeding hungry people. But the thing is, if there is an evil scientist who is responsible for creation of physical bodies which keeps getting hunger, then shall we try to feed them or shall we try to kill this evil scientist? So do you see what we are all trying to do in here? All of us together against the ignorance. That is what we have to do. That is the Sambuddha Sasana. All of us together helping each other and everyone fight against the ignorance. To give Buddha to as many people as possible. When I say Buddha, I don't mean religion, I mean the state of mind in which we are taking a refuge. Why do you need to take a refuge? Because you are suffering, right? That is why you need to take refuge. If you are not suffering and if you are happy and if you are perfectly content, now there is no need to do anything or take any refuge or to go anywhere. You can just be wherever you are and you can be happy. But the thing is, that is not so, right? You are all suffering and you want to get rid of suffering, and to save yourself from the suffering, you want to have a refuge. So, now the thing is this. When we don't understand anicca, dukkha and anatta, right? That is when we try to seek refuge, really. And it seems that there is a refuge in this universe. When we don't understand, I will repeat it. When we don't understand anicca, dukkha and anatta, right? And when the mind is constantly being created with this view of nitya, sukha and atta, that is when we are trying to look for some refuge, really. Because the thing is, when the mind is created with nitya, sukha and atta, then there is always feeling that there is something special, right? Either that special thing is in here right now or it's there somewhere in the future. So if that special thing is not here right now, that somewhere in the future, by doing something special will happen. That is a feeling that you have. And the only reason why you have that feeling is because you don't understand anicca, dukkha and anatta. If you have that feeling, this is the reason, the ignorance. Now, now that we exist in this universe, because of ignorance, the only thing that we can do is to stop, really. Not to go anywhere, but to stop. And what I mean by stop is, stop looking for the things which don't exist really. I mean, if it is true that we had infinite lives in the samsara, and all that we have always tried to do is try to be happy and to not suffer, then think about how many times we have failed now. Are you not sick in your stomach just thinking about it? I mean, I feel sick. That's why I became monk really. I was so sick of that feeling that, if there were infinite lives, then now, I don't want to try anymore. I just want to stop. I'm sick really. I mean, not just me, but any of us, what can you control really? Tell me. What can you control? You think you can control, but what can you really control in this universe? I mean, let alone the world outside, right? But even yourself, can you control? Do you even listen to yourself? You decide to do something and then you do something else. Can you even listen to yourself? Can you even control yourself as you like? Let alone anything else in this whole world. So the thing is, now that we exist, right, somehow, I mean, because of ignorance, because of our fault, because of not practicing enough, because of not associating with the noble friends enough and all these things, right, all these causes, now we have ended up existing in this universe, and now the only thing that we can do is, understand what has happened, and then that's it. If you can just, this is why, when we talk about the four noble truths, right, if you understand the first noble truth properly, then you will automatically understand the other two truths. The other three truths, right? The other three noble truths, you will understand them automatically. So when we talk about the dukkha, right, and dukkha samudaya, right? So if you can see dukkha and if you can see dukkha samudaya, right? So samudaya sang udaya means what? Arising of a collection, right? Things coming together, aggregation, right? Things aggregating. So if you can see that, if you can see dukkha as a dukkha, then now you will automatically you can either think about anicca or dukkha or anatta. You can contemplate in either way, but usually for most people the breakthrough will probably come from anicca and dukkha, right? So if you can just see dukkha and dukkha samudaya, just seeing the problem, that is the effort that you have to put in order to attain Nibbana. If you can just see the problem, just seeing the problem is the end of problem. That's it. Because this problem is in the mind. If you can, imagine this. Your mind does not want to suffer. And it wants to be happy. If it can understand why it is suffering and why it is not happy, if it can understand it perfectly, now you don't have to tell it to do what it has to do afterwards in order to be actually happy and to not suffer. If it can see the reason about how there are forces which are creating this suffering and which is preventing the mind from being content, right? This emptiness that you feel, right? This purposelessness, this meaninglessness, all these ugly feelings that happens in the mind. If you can see that how all those things are created because of the force of ignorance, now you don't have to then do something about the ignorance. Just seeing the ignorance as ignorance is the eradication of ignorance. So, if you can see dukkha and dukkha samudaya, then dukkha nirodha will happen automatically. So, what we have to do now is, please help yourself and help as many people as you can to attain Nibbana, because that's the only salvation in this whole universe. That's the only freedom. There is nothing else that we can do, nothing else. You can try, but then you have not been successful, right? Even if you take it as hypothesis, if there were infinite lives, then Where are all the things that you did do in all those infinite lives? It did all go down the drain, right? I mean, even the merits, they also run out, right? Just like cash that you have, it also runs out. It's not like you can keep it. So then, how can you find any refuge in such a world? In what can you take refuge? So, what we have to understand is that, we are so afraid of uncertainty, and we are so afraid of future, and all those things are there. But, what we have to understand is that there is no refuge really. But the thing is, as long as you think that there is a refuge, you will suffer. So, when we talk about the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha as a refuge, then those refuges are not actually to take refuge, but rather to stop taking refuge in everything, including the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. That is why Arhan does not go around looking for more Dhamma, because Dhamma is not the end goal, right? As Buddha says, Dhamma is not the end goal. Dhamma is there for a purpose. A medicine is always there for a purpose. If we are not sick, then why do we need medicine? We don't need medicine if we are not sick. So I think with that, we'll finish today's sermon.